Alright, trying to see if we can get this going here. Alright, so now that I got the stream definitely working, and I've confirmed that it's no longer bugging out, I'm gonna get this flight going. So doing a quick little circle of the bay today in a 787-9er. Which should be a fun little circle. Shouldn't be too crazy here. So what I'm going to be doing is just building a bit of a flight plan in little nav map here, which I've actually done in my other nav map instance I run on my other computer down by my leg. And so we're going to be starting at SFO and then ending at SFO. And so I'm going to start a flight plan here real quick. Alright, so now we have the flight plan here at the bottom. And we'll need to add some waypoints to kind of get ourselves a route to take. So we'll check out the departures using the weather up here. I know that I know that runway 28 is going to be our active runways here. So I'm going to be then using that for the departure and arrival. And I did some homework earlier, so I do know that I want a specific SID departure, standard instrument departure. And there's a waypoint I'm going to follow after that. But I'm going to take this antenna to SID, and you'll see that brings me up north here around the city. And we'll depart from 28 right. I've also added a manual waypoint. Where did it get to? There it is. So I'm going to add this waypoint to the flight plan. And you'll see it brings us up pretty far north here. And the final thing I'm going to do on our flight plan here is add our arrival procedure. It keeps 28 right. And I'm going to be using the... What did I say? I believe it was the Aximal ILS approach with the Arch-I transition. Yeah. So I'll set this as my arrival. It's kind of noisy, but you'll see that it does build me a flight plan here that I can follow. And then I'll just adjust the flight plan a little bit because I'm a little more altitude, so I'll bring it up to 12,000. You see the top of climb and the top of descent are figured out there. And that's basically my flight plan then. That's all I'm going to do for this trip here. And so now I'm going to export this flight plan so that I can load it into the game itself, which will help out with some things in game. But I actually won't be using that. I won't be using that in the computer itself. So I'm going to select my start position, which I selected in the game already, which is D12. Alright, the flight plan has been exported, and as I was saying, I do actually have the same flight plan set up in my separate little nav map instance running on my tablet on my leg. And so I'm going to end up following that through the flight here. But now that I've exported that, I'm going to load that flight plan into the game. So we're going to jump back over here, check out the flight planner. Sorry to change my keyboard shortcuts. So we're going to load in the flight plan. Of which it actually did a really bad job filling in waypoints. It doesn't matter. The problem here is that the nav data I'm using, little nav map, is newer than the nav data that the game has. So the waypoints I'm using on little nav map don't exist in the game. So it did the best it could with the things that I've set up. And so this will get us kind of the idea that I want, which will help the active weather thing keep all the weather stations up to date. So I'm not going to move my flight or my aircraft to the origin location. So now we can start to load in here. Going to set the time to now, and then I'm going to do fly now, which will launch us in. Just checking that my head tracking seems to be centered okay. And so the game did complain the altimeter is not set correctly, and that's because I'm using active weather. So I'm just going to cheat and press the B key to set it to the value I want it at. Alright, perfect. So now I basically have my departures and arrivals and waypoints all figured out. So I'm quickly going to run you through the GSX stuff, which is like the ground services that I use. So for that, I'm going to turn on the auxiliary power unit. The reason I'm doing that is I got to turn the engines off before I can activate the GSX module. So we'll give that a minute to power up. Alright, we'll assume that I've gotten far enough along in the APU startup that it'll take over. I might be a little early here, but that's okay. So Control Shift F12 brings this up, and now I'm just going to do all the ground services stuff. Going to select the L1 door, and going to confirm that. And so once the jetway connects to the aircraft, it'll actually give me some battery power there, which I can then use to power the aircraft. But I'll probably just keep the APU on for the entirety of this. Alright, now that that's started happening, what I can end up doing is beginning the boarding and cargo loading process here. So what I'll do first is set my dispatch over here on the electronic flight bag. short flight today, so I'll do 20%. Now if I were doing a longer leg today, I'd probably use the ground services, the GSX refueling mechanism. It takes a bit of time to do, so just in the interest of saving time, I won't do it. But it just allows you to fill your tanks up to 50, 60, 70, 80, or 100%. Alright, so jetway is attached. I'm going to request boarding, which is what I want. Well, I guess just for the shits and giggles, I'll also request catering once the boarding is going along. So it wants me to open some doors now. And I know it's going to want both the forward and the aft cargo doors open. I also know it's going to want the L door open for the passengers, so I'll just pre-open that a while. Cool, everything's open, so it should start boarding on its own. While we're doing that, may as well just get some catering just for shits and giggles. Get some gate gourmet. Oh god, they're gonna crash. Ah! Obviously, there are some flaws with some of the ground services modules. I think maybe because I requested catering, I caused the the cargo load to be aborted. Anyway, while that stuff happens, I'm going to begin programming the flight computer. So I'm going to start by setting our position. And I don't think setting the gate actually works. Which is fine. We're going to set the route, so we're going to do Ksfo to Ksfo.
Morning.
Oh god, this begins.
Pre-flight checklist.
Alright, we'll keep programming out here so we don't have to hear those people boarding the aircraft. We're leaving on 28 right. And as you can see, the GSX is actually causing the game to lag a little bit here as people are walking onto the aircraft. It's kind of troublesome, but it's alright. Alright, so I have my runway set to runway 28 right. I have my flight number set to Hotel Kilo Mike November. And now we're going to set our departures and arrivals. So we're going to do 28 right departure. And we talked about using this antenna to SID. And we're not going to use any of the transitions there. So we'll go back to departures arrivals and figure out the arrival. We're doing ILS 28 right. We said we want the yes, sorry, we're not taking a star here. We're going to take only a transition for ILS, so we're going to do the Archie ILS transition. And go back to route, and you'll see now we can activate the route. I can also do a perf init. So we can set our cruise altitude to flight level 120, 12,000. Cost index of 999. We're not going to save any fuel. And reserves of 5%. And now we're going to execute this. We'll just ignore this for now.
Welcome aboard this flight. May we remind you that all seat backs and tray tables need to be in the upright position. All carry-on items brought on board must be securely stowed either under the seat.
And that's generally, the message generally comes up when there's a problem with the legs you programmed.
Please ensure that your seat
And you can see here, yeah, there is a discontinuity, which explains our problem. Oh god, those are two are gonna crash too now, aren't they? Oh, yep. Fuck everybody's baggage.
By the words, "No children this row," please review the white safety card in the seat pocket in front of you. The use of some portable electronic devices is prohibited while on board the aircraft. Once airborne, you will be advised for the use of approved devices such as personal computers and compact disc players.
I'll wait till she's done.
Permitted. A complete list of approved devices may be found in the magazine.
Alright, anyway, so back to what we were doing. We're going to want to fix this route discontinuity. Easy to fix. You click the origin of the one we're going to keep, and we're going to move the one we're going to keep up to the blank spot, and the discontinuity is fixed. It's claiming the compute to top of descent is before top of climb. And we're getting this because I forgot to add that other waypoint I want to add in there. And so we know that we want that extra waypoint to happen after Santana. That's when we leave the instrument departure. So we're going to add that waypoint one, which is Habap. Alright, Habap is in. We're going to click Archie to put Habap in its place. And you'll see that Archie isn't erased, it's just moved down to here. And then I'm also going to set our cruising speed and altitude here, which is 12,000. So that's now set. I'm going to fix the discontinuity here. I'm not sure why that changed to 350. And now we've hit a fun thing where the nav data I have looks to be different than what I'm using. No, according to this it's not. Interesting. Oh wait, it should be able to use it just fine because I have it from here. Let's see if I can do it manually. That was really bizarre. I don't know why that did that. And so these speeds and stuff look a little low, so I'm going to have to manually adjust these. Normally these climb rates and stuff are figured out. I think it's a little weird because I'm leaving and arriving at the same airport in a giant plane like this. And now I've hit one of these situations where the computer doesn't want to cooperate by changing that value there, which is generally when there's some weird restriction set on that waypoint. So I'll probably just take off and then do a speed control manually in our flight. We'll just show you how to do that. I do want to see if I can fix this one though. Nope. Alright, we'll ignore it. And truthfully, I'm going to remove this waypoint as well. With it being 1 nautical mile out, there's a good chance we're going to miss that, which will cause navigation issues. So I'm just going to move this one up. So we deleted the top one, so now we'll go to King first. It appears we've stopped talking about loading passengers in, so it's quieter in here, so we'll sit in the cockpit for now. I'm guessing the catering service will only come in once we've gotten all the cargo loaded and stuff. Anywho, now that we've gotten that far, we can actually now do the performance configuration for the takeoff. So we're going to copy the FMC data, which grabs our airport, our runway, and our flap settings. We're going to set the thrust rating to takeoff and the flaps to optimum. Because the weather looks pretty clear here today, I think we can say the conditions are dry. And then we're going to calculate. And this calculates the flaps and stuff to use for takeoff based on our takeoff weight and the runway length that we're going to be on. And once I've calculated that, I want to send it to the FMC so the computer knows how to do that in flight. You'll see when I do that, this accept button comes up here on the FMC. So I'm just going to accept it, and now it's programmed in here. V1, V2, rotate. So now we're pretty much ready to go with the flight computer programming. Some final things to do is to set our cruising altitude and the altitude hold. Set our climb speed, which is going to be 240 up to 10,000. We're going to arm the auto throttles. It's not on yet. We'll arm it. I'm also going to turn on my flight directors so we can see where the navigation system wants us to go. It wants us to nose up for takeoff. I'm also going to arm my speed brakes, which will prep us for takeoff, and I'll keep my flaps fully retracted for now. And we'll turn some lights on. People need to fasten their seatbelts. Baggage is about 90% loaded, so we're getting pretty close to the end here. I did request that catering. So that'll probably show up after the baggage finishes, but we might just forgo that to keep this stream pretty short. And I guess with the passengers being loaded, I can now close the L1 door. We should get an announcement about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just closed the main cabin door. All personal cellular telephones must be turned off and stowed for the duration of the flight. Flight attendants, prepare doors for departure, cross-check, and verify straps.
Someone's waiting for the alarm to go off. Tell me boarding's complete. And there it is, which means the baggage is all done. And I should be able to now close the doors.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you aboard this flight on the Dreamliner. At this time, I'd like to direct your attention to the flight attendants while we review safety information about the 787. Your seatbelt should be fastened at this time. It is our policy that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times while seated. The 8 exits on the 787 are marked with the exit sign. Please locate the 2 exits nearest you, keeping in mind the nearest exits may be behind you. This aircraft has escape path lighting. A change in color or an exit sign will indicate you have reached an exit. Should oxygen be needed, a mask will appear from the compartment above your seat. If you're traveling with someone needing assistance, put on your mask first and then offer assistance. Your life vest is located in a container beneath or in some cases between your seat. If needed, inflate the vest just prior to exiting the aircraft by pulling the red tab on the front vest. A safety information card with more detailed instructions regarding this aircraft is in your seat pocket. This is a non-smoking flight. Smoking is not allowed in the cabin or lavatories. All lavatories are equipped with smoke detection systems, and federal law prohibits tampering with, disabling, or destroying these systems.
Captain would like you to
As
smoke
we
up,
get ready to
please.
take off, please help us prepare the cabin by making sure all carry-on baggage is stowed, all seat backs and tray tables are upright, headrests are lowered, and footrests and video monitors are stowed. Customers are required to observe all posted and lighted information signs and adhere to crew members' instructions. Thank you for choosing to fly with us. We will be airborne shortly.
Not as soon as you think, depending on this catering situation. Oh, here it comes! It's the simple things in life that are the most enjoyable. This should just take a few minutes for our, food to get loaded in for this 30-minute flight. If you're watching, you can probably skip a few minutes out and wait for my ground services crap to finish. Alright, that basically takes care of that. So I can now begin the pushback and start procedures. Well, I feel like there was something I was missing. But that's fine. So I'll wait to start the engines until after we started the pushback. Alright, here we go.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Me too.
Locking gear.
I'm where I wanted to do. I wanted to tune into the ATIS frequency here.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
11850.
We're on the flight deck.
Go ahead for cockpit.
Cleared to start engines.
Roger. Clear to start engines. Start both engines.
Alright, time to start both engines, so we're going to turn on the fuel control from off to running, and then we're going to move the engine to the start position.
Okay, starting engines.
Alright, so those should be starting to spin momentarily. And so if you see me looking down, what you're seeing me doing is you're looking at my little nav computer that's on the tablet on my leg, just to make sure I know where I'm going here. You can see we have both engines now marked as running, which is great. Turn VSD mode. Alright, both engines are on. Power is coming from the engine, so I can kill the APU. I'm going to want traffic avoidance on, so I'm going to enable my TCAS right now. TCAS is now marked as being enabled.
Set parking brakes. Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Alright, got some little camera angles set up here just so I can watch my curiosity here. Just kind of show what's going on. You can see the tow truck and stuff's pulling away in the front.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Alright, now we're ready to taxi, so I'm actually facing the way I want to go for taxiing down to runway 28 right. So I'm just going to continue on here towards Juliet. I'm going to turn right onto Bravo, left onto Foxtrot, and then continue on Foxtrot down to the end of the 28 runways. From there, I'll just get on 28 right and burn it out of here. So let's get rolling. Frame rates are being a little garbage right now because I'm running in windowed mode, so I could have shown the little nav map stuff.
Approaching 01 left. Approaching 01 right.
I'm going to prep my flaps for takeoff, so those need to be at 5 according to my takeoff calculations that were done on the EFB earlier.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure.
Approaching 28 left.
And we'll just assume that I was cleared to cross.
Approaching 28 right.
Alright, everything looks good, so let's burn it out of here.
On runway 28 right.
Eighty knots. Checked. B1. Rotate. B2. Positive rate. Gear up.
Autopilot is engaged. So now this is back to the problem where the plane wants to be at a lower speed than I want. So I'm going to take over manually here. Set her for 240. And so now, as you see, we're actually following the route already.
With our flight underway, I'd like to once again welcome you aboard. I'd also like to offer a special welcome to our Quality Club flyers. You will be earning valuable miles on your flight today. If you're not a member, please visit us at qwingsun.com. In just a few minutes, we will be beginning our complimentary meal and beverage service in both first class and coach. In coach, beer, wine, and margaritas can be purchased with a debit or credit card. We apologize as we do not accept cash. In-flight entertainment available on this aircraft includes audio and video on demand as well as Wi-Fi, all included free of charge. A flight attendant will be coming through the aisles with complimentary headsets. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
After takeoff checklist.
Alright, so we're still continuing to climb. We'll do our after takeoff checklist. Gear up, flaps up, checklist complete. We'll turn our terrain view on. And with the terrain view on, you can actually make out the different features of the Bay Area here. My frame rates were pretty garbage down at the airport. I've been tweaking my graphic settings a little bit. Obviously, I tweaked them a little too far.
Ladies and
So,
gentlemen, The use of approved
Offset it.
portable electronic
I'll offset it.
devices is now permitted.
Now we've crossed 10,000 feet. I'm just gonna throttle up. Send it up to 350. So you can get these higher res views. You can pop them out to second monitors if you wanted to. This kind of shows what it looks like with our approach coming in around the Habab waypoint, around to the south. And you can see the top of climb and top of descent. We've already passed the top of climb, but the TD there is the top of descent. So that tells us when we're going to start heading back down towards our landing. VAS usage is currently 85%. That's way higher than it was last night. So I'm guessing, yeah, I tweaked my graphic settings a little too far. And the one thing I'm going to check is that the ILS approach looks right. fix something, my little map that I'd messed up, just to make sure I can travel along, follow along on my little knee board here. So now that I'm getting towards the top of descent, I'm going to prep myself for landing. So I'm going to show landing performance stuff. I'm going to copy the FMC data. I'm going to set a category for landing. AI is going to be off. Key config is going to be no credit. Spoilers auto. Brakes auto brake. Condition continue to be dry. And we'll use this to click and get the wind and the weather from my active weather that's running. Once that's done, it's calculated, then we can send the output to the FMC. Alright, we can accept it. And we're now good to go for landing. And so because I know the ILS approach is pretty low to the ground for this here, and we're going to be descending within about 25, 30 nautical miles. We're going to pull this down to start our descent when we get to that point. So 2,000 should be good. And at this point, I'm going to let the aircraft take over the speed control. So I click the button here to turn off speed intervention. And at this point, it should follow its own path for that, based on the legs that we put in the FMC. And I might even try to change that one. Excellent. So, managed to keep us at 240 to get a little more speed. Weird that it cleared off like that. begin descending in just a moment here. Alright, that was it. I had to turn on my flight change button here to get it to start dropping. Forgotten that I had changed some of the route stuff, so I had to select that. So it should begin descending now, but I'm going to need to extend my spoilers. Avoid getting too fast. Switch it back to VNav mode. That should put us back in control. Some turbulence here at 6,000. Probably because I'm well above my maximum airspeed at this altitude. Flaps all the way down as we lose the speed here. flaps are fully extended. Going to arm the speed brake, which will get us ready for landing. I'm going to turn the auto brake on. We should be getting a right-hand turn towards that final in just a moment. Based on the display here, I've actually managed to already intercept the ILS localizer. So based on that, I'm going to move us to ILS approach. And turn us on approach. We are on the glide slope. Should bring in a nice and smooth approach towards runway 28 right. Happy lights should be starting to show up momentarily. Alright, gonna bring our speed back to
2500.
150 and then fully lower the flaps. My feet are on the rotor pedals. About ready to do this thing here, but it should require only brake and reverse thrust input from me after touchdown. I don't think I'll need anything beyond that.
Land 3. Landing checklist.
Pointed out, you can see the go-around procedure up here at the top. If I were to miss this approach.
1000.
300. Approaching minimums. Minimums. 200.
On wheels down, it should extract the speed brake and begin to apply some
100.
brakes.
40. 30. 20. 10.
Fucking center line that bad boy. Anywho, that's basically it. We could go back to the gate and deboard, but that's basically the same as boarding. I'm gonna go try to figure out that frame rate issue.